It's the single most valuable skill in the game of basketball. Uncoincidentally, it's also the skill that comes with the highest price. Becoming a great shooter requires obsession, and while I'm still on the journey myself, I'm fortunate to say that I've come a long ways from where I started. Following my senior year of high school, I realized that if I wanted to succeed at the next level, I would have to break down my shot and rebuild it from the ground up. Fast forward 3 years to present day, where I've been able to completely transform my game and have found success at the college level that would have never been there without a jump shot. The process hasn't been easy, and honestly, I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm confident that I've learned what it takes to become a shooter, and I want to share it with the world. One of the most recognizable traits of a shooter is their form. While I personally believe that your form is only part of what makes someone good at shooting, there's no denying that without good mechanics it's a lot harder to improve. Think of it like someone learning to pitch a baseball. There are several different ways that a pitcher can release the ball, but there are certain mechanics your form needs to be consistently effective. Consistency in your form is one of the major keys to being a good shooter. That being said, there's no such thing as a perfect form. Every great shooter in NBA history has had their own tweaks to their shots. The key is finding what's comfortable for you, while also adding in the basic mechanics needed for a consistent release. This means studying the game's greatest shooters, breaking down their shots to the smallest of details. Footwork, release, elbow placement, it all feeds into making them the best at what they do. Your job is to look for common traits they all have in their forms and figure out which of them your shot is missing. The next step is evaluating your own form as it is and figuring out what you need to change in order to get better results. In the off season before my freshman year of college and even into my freshman season, I would film myself shooting. This allowed me to figure out what I needed to change or add to make my form more consistent. An example for me was my lack of using my lower body, which would cause my upper body to be inconsistent. As soon as I started incorporating more legs, I was able to make the tweaks needed to my release, and could start working on keeping my elbow straight consistently. This process varies from person to person, and the important thing to remember is that once you have figured out what you need to change or improve, you have to be willing to spend the time in the gym. The beginning stages of rebuilding your shot are difficult, but by spending the time close to the hoop form shooting and perfecting your release, you're building habits that will pay off in the future. From my perspective, the mental aspect of shooting has always been as important as anything physical. Whether you're just starting to learn how to shoot a ball, or you're an NBA player taking a shot in the finals, your mentality affects everything. At the early stages of rebuilding or fixing your shot, having patience can be the difference between progress and giving up. The way you approach things mentally is what can separate you from average. As a shooter, the same goes for your approach to game situations. Having the confidence in your shot can be a major factor in if you make it or not. There are plenty of players out there with terrible form that seem to hit shots off their confidence alone. But when you combine good form with a confident shooting mentality, that's when you start to see the consistent results that make a good shooter. There's no secret formula to mastering the art of shooting. Sure, certain tweaks to form can help build consistency, and a focused mental approach can give you the edge. But at the end of the day, what separates good shooters from the rest is being willing to put in the work every single day. Relentless repetition is the key. And if you're willing to invest your time into it, then it can change your life. I know it did mine.